Hello friends, Mrs. Pandelides here for another art lesson. This lesson is intended for elementary friends, and today we are going to be making a snake in the grass. One of my favorite projects, I have to say. Every time I have done this with students, they always come out so beautifully. So I'm kind of excited to teach you about this particular lesson. So the supplies that we're going to need are over here on my table. So starting at the top, we need a container to hold water. Any old container will do. If you have white paint of any kind, tempera or acrylic, we need that. Something to put your white acrylic paint on. I often just use a leftover lid from a yogurt container, or you can use a piece of aluminum foil. A sponge if you have one. If you don't, we can use another technique as well. A paintbrush, okay, kind of a medium-sized paintbrush. Watercolor paints, an assortment of crayon colors. We need 2 colors of green construction paper, or this is just simply computer paper that I have lots of different colors to choose from. So I'm just using computer paper today, a light green and a dark green, a scissors and a pencil. And then we need a couple of larger pieces of paper if you have them. We need 1 large white piece of paper for our snake, and then we need a piece of paper of a colored piece of construction paper for our background. So in my sample, I have what appears to be a gray piece of construction paper. I also think that blue, this kind of blue, a light blue, even black, all look really nice with this particular project. Okay, so we are going to start with our large piece of colored construction paper is what we're going to be gluing our grass to. So with our grass, we've got both dark and light green, and you're going to draw blades of grass that are very wide, okay? And I would say this is an 8.5 inch piece by 11 piece of paper. And if you put your hand on here, that's about as high as your grass needs to go. About that height is the max, okay? So, and on this piece of paper, you should be able to fit, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 blades, thick blades of grass, okay? And they are just kind of any sort of shape that you want. All right, I think I've got. And I noticed that I have some that are taller and some that are a little bit shorter. All right, so there we go. All right, next thing you're going to do is cut those out. All right. I'm just going to, I like to always cut a little bit on the inside of the pencil line so the pencil line doesn't show. Right. So in the interest of time, I'm going to stop there. You get the idea. You will cut all of the light green blades of grass out from this paper and then set them aside. All right, and you will do the same with your dark green. Again, you can put your hand on your paper and know that that's kind of your top point. All right, and just draw some thick blades of grass that are various lengths. All right, there's one that's kind of medium tall, a short one, a taller one. All right, and again, one that's kind of medium. All right, and again, you'll take your scissors and cut out your blades of grass, usually going inside the pencil line so it doesn't show when you glue it onto your larger piece of paper. Okay, etc. I'm going to set that aside, and I have pre-cut some dark green and light green blades of grass just in the interest of saving some time. So now you're going to take your light green and dark green blades of grass. I'm sorry, I forgot to put glue on our list of supplies, so you also need some glue. And you're going to glue your blades of grass in such a way that you don't have all the light green grass clumped together or all the dark green. If you look at my sample, I do have some of them clumped together, usually 2 dark blades of grass here, maybe 2 or 3 light green blades of grass grouped here, but you want to spread them out a little bit. All right, so I'm going to take this one and put some glue on the back, and we're going to glue about 1/2 to 2/3 of our blades of grass onto the paper from the bottom. All right, I'm going to put that. These are a slightly different color green, which is kind of cool. Didn't realize that I got a different colored piece of paper, but that's good. All right, so I'm putting 2 together there. I think I'm going to put a dark one next to that. I just want to place them in such a way that I like the way they look. All right, so now I'm going to put a few in the middle here. There's a light green. I'm going to put a dark green blade of grass, and then another light one that's maybe a little taller. Yep, that's a little taller, good. All right, you can see I'm not using a lot of glue on the back, just enough to make them stick. All right, I think I want to put a few more. So here's a dark one. I will clump a few dark ones together, and I want to leave a few blades of grass for after I put my snake on my paper. So I want you to take a look at the sample, and you'll see that some of the blades of grass are going over the snake. So it looks like it's actually in the grass. So I'm going to save 2 dark green blades that I know can go on top, and I'll do the same with the light. All right, so I'll do one more light green, and then I will save these other blades of grass for when we come back and put our snake in. So set this paper aside that has your blades of grass, and the next order of business is to have our large white piece of paper. Notice that this paper is the same length as my large background color, which for you could be any color you choose, because we don't want the snake to be larger than this so that it goes off the paper. All right, so now I'm going to take my pencil, and I think this is a little bit easier if you tip your paper this way, okay, because our snake becomes kind of an S shape. Okay, I did this with the enrichment friends last week when we made a caterpillar. All right, so starting somewhere near the middle top of your page, you're going to make kind of an S shape, all right? And then you will echo that line, making that S kind of a wide S so that you have plenty of room to make patterns and paint your snake. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go wide and come down to there. Now I want to make the end of my snake, the snake's tail, so to speak, or the end of the snake. And then on this end is going to be my head. So if you look at my head on my sample, I made it come a little wider than where I ended and then come to a point. All right, so there we go. All right, we have a nice looking snake. Next order of business is to take our crayons, all right? And I am going to take a crayon and go over that pencil line so that I think it looks a little better if I have a crayon. You also could have drawn your snake to start with a crayon. That might have even worked better, all right? So here we go. I'm going over my line, the outside of my snake. All right, so there we go. Got a nice shape there. Next order of business is to take any color crayon that you choose and start to make some patterns, all right? I'm going to have my snake have some dots, some small dots, okay? I might also have my snake have some larger circles that kind of overlap. Whatever patterns that you would like to make will make a fine looking snake. All right, I kind of like the way that looks. I think I'm going to make some sort of zigzaggy lines. Okay, maybe some on this side too. All right, use some other colors. Maybe I'll just make an echo of a triangle there. I like that. Okay. Let's see what other colors I have here. Ooh, I have a nice red. All right, so I think I will make some stripes. Stripes going the other way, this way. Whatever patterns you can think of, you add to your snake. All right, that's enough for that, I think. And now for my snake needs some eyes. All right, give my snake some eyes. And you can see that eventually we could add a tongue if we want to. All right, so I think that is good for the patterns on my snake. Actually, I want to just make this end there like that. Didn't like the way that was looking. Okay, next part of our process is going to be watercolor painting our snake. And again, we've talked about this, how this is so cool, that when you use crayon and you paint over it with watercolor, the designs come right through because the wax in the crayon doesn't mix with the watercolor paint. All right. So you could paint your snake all one solid color, or you can paint it several different colors. I kind of like painting different colors. I'm going to start with this sort of lime green here. And again, if you are struggling to paint, remember, lots of water, lots of swishing in the paint container itself, and you will get enough water on your brush. Ooh, my paint kind of broke up there. Guess that was a little dried out. All right, so let's see if this works at all. Oh, sure, there we go. So my snake is going to have a yellow head. And then I'm going to choose a different color in the next section. I think I'm going to try orange. Let's try that for this section. All right, and I chose orange because I didn't use an orange crayon in that section, so I think this would show up a little better if I do that. All right, I want that to be a little darker, so I'm going to go back and swish, 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 really get a lot of paint on my brush. Ooh, even better, yeah. Nice color. I like that when it's darker. All right, let me try a little bit of blue here in my next section. Ooh, isn't that a pretty color? It's more of a teal. I think I'm going to have that a larger section because I like it so much. Oh, and you can see how that watercolor resist works right through there. And I think I might even try putting a little bit of purple in here and see what happens with that. Let's see if I put a little purple in here. My paper's drying very quickly. All right, so I wanted to just add a little purple in there and let it spread around. I like that look with watercolor. All right, there we go. I like that. All right, next section. Let's see, what should I try? Maybe a little bit of red. All right, let's go to this, and it almost looks pinkish. All right, we need a little more water on our brush. There we go. Much better. All right, and if you end up going outside the body of your snake with your paint, it really doesn't matter because we are also cutting this snake out. All right. So there we go. So we've got a nice looking watercolor painted and patterned with crayon snake. All right, next step is to cut out your snake. And this again, you want to try to do your best with cutting out. I'm pretty quick because I've been cutting for many, many years. But if you take a little more time than I do, certainly don't worry about it. And we've talked about when we cut things out, keep shifting your paper around so that it is in a direction that is easy for you to cut. Okay, just keep moving your paper around. Here we go. All right. And there we go. We've got a wonderful snake. Put that paper aside. And there is our lovely snake. I'm going to get my large piece of paper back with my grass. All right, and now I'm going to place my snake in the grass on top of this grass, because remember, I'm going to take my other blades of grass and put them on top of the snake so it looks as if the snake is in the grass. All right, so again, we put some glue on the back of our snake, just enough to get him to stay on the paper. We don't need lots and lots of glue. All right, I think that's probably good. Tip him over, place him however you like. I'm going to go down a little bit actually. There we go. All right, and then my blades of grass go on top. All right, I think I'll put one here. Another dark one. Let's see, where do I want to put this one? Maybe right here. And we've got two lighter green blades of grass as well. Let's put one here. And maybe one over here. Okay, so now our snake looks as if it's hiding in the grass, okay? Next step is to paint our clouds in the sky, which I'm going to take some white. I have acrylic paint here. All right, and I'm going to put just a small amount on my tray, my little plastic lid. Take my sponge. Now, I have a sponge, and this is called a natural sponge, but cleaning sponge works as well, and we've used them at school before. Alternatively, if you don't have a sponge, you can also just paint the clouds with a brush. I'll do one of those too. But I love the way the natural sponge works with the paint. It gives it a lot of texture. So we tap, tap, tap in our paint. Okay, so we've got some paint on here, and I'm going to make some clouds. You can see how it gives a nice texture. All right. Kind of a cool looking cloud. All right, and if you don't have a sponge, let's just take our brush, get some of that water out, and you can also paint a cloud using a brush. Just using some smallish kind of strokes, almost like swirly. All right, so you can see you can get a nice looking cloud just with a paintbrush as well. All right, so there we go. And also, if you wanted to add a little forked tongue to your snake, you could take any color construction paper and add that as well. You can see on mine, I put my snake a little too far down, so my little tongue would be coming off the paper. So you might want to consider that when you glue your snake on as well. All right, so Sophia, if you want to scoot around to the other side, I can say goodbye to friends, and again, would love to see, my friends, some of your artwork. If you want to send it into Northside so I can take a look at it, that would really make me happy to see what you're up to. Hope everyone has a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.